How we doing, guys? Welcome to DT's Daily. It is Monday morning and very clear what I'm going to talk about today. And the headline says it all. Tottenham have absolutely no chance of hijacking any deal from Arsenal for Eberechi Eze. Absolutely no chance. Now, a lot of this talk and a lot of, what's going on involving Spurs and people talking about hijacking. It's mainly some of their supporters. And it all boils down to the fact that James Maddison looks like he's picked up a very serious injury during pre-season in a game against Newcastle. And first and foremost, best wishes to him, because regardless of who you play for, you don't like seeing a serious injury to anybody. But yeah, it means that Spurs are in a very difficult position now. They needed to strengthen in that area. Eze was a name that was mentioned quite a while ago, and it's a name that they've apparently been looking at for up to 2 years. And they've apparently done so much groundwork. And then Arsenal came in and Eze made it very clear to Spurs, I'm not interested. There's only one club I'm leaving Crystal Palace for, and it's Arsenal. And that is why Spurs made their move for Morgan Gibbs-White. Because Eze had already told them, sorry, not going to happen. You may as well move on. And then what goes and happens with Morgan Gibbs-White is that he ends up signing a new contract for Nottingham Forest. So, they were looking for somebody anyway, probably. When you look at James Maddison there as well, came back, from missing the end of last season with a knee injury, and apparently it's the same knee. But that's, given Spurs fans a little bit of a glimmer in their eyes, and they thought, hijack the deal, get it done, pay over the odds. There's one thing that you're missing here, and that's Eze himself. He does not want to play for Tottenham. If you were going in a straight head-to-head Arsenal versus Spurs for a player, the player will always pick Arsenal. There's not any planet where a player would pick Spurs over Arsenal. It's just simply not going to happen. Spurs are a small club. Arsenal are a massive club. You can talk all day long about the Europa League, second-rate trophy and all the rest of it. The two biggest trophies are the Premier League and the Champions League. The FA Cup has more history, tradition than the Europa League. Please. Okay, well done. You won a trophy. Okay, great. You'll go another 20 odd years without ever seeing another trophy again. We've won as many league titles in your ground as you have in your history. Leicester and Blackburn have won the Premier League and you haven't. Come on, please. There's no comparison when it comes to Arsenal and Spurs. If a player had to make the choice, he's picking Arsenal over Spurs. If Arsenal pulled out of the race for Eberechi Eze, then I would actually go as far as saying that he would choose to stay at Crystal Palace than leave to go to Spurs. It's that simple. So all this talk about hijacking, it's just never going to happen. If Eze is leaving Crystal Palace, he's going to Arsenal. He's not going to Spurs. It's that simple. And it's not about money. It's not about anything other than the fact, ambition. And also the fact that he'd be going back home. He would be going back to the club that he started out as a young boy. And, we've all seen the video of him talking about when he was released by Arsenal. I think he was 13 years old when he was released. And he was absolutely devastated crying because his dream has always been to play for Arsenal. You know, to put on that red and white shirt with a badge on his chest. And he will have that opportunity. And, you know, there's a lot of talk at the moment saying that Arsenal are preparing a £52 million bid. Now, there's some, you know, grey area with this release clause. Apparently, it expired a couple of days ago, but reports are emerging now that that's actually not the case. The release clause expires on the 15th of August, which is still a couple of weeks away. So I don't know what the actual situation is. It's been very well documented that Arsenal are trying to negotiate something around the release clause, a smaller upfront fee. The only thing that the whole Spurs situation and Maddison and everything may do is kick us into action a little bit more, or a little bit more quicker. Not that we're worried about losing him. It's just to get the job done, and there's no, you know, interference and them trying to get involved to push our price up. Crystal Palace, you know, the owners would love that, a bidding war. But ultimately, it comes down to the player. And I think that Eze has achieved so much for Crystal Palace. And he's got such a great relationship with the club, the fans, the owner and everything, that I feel that Crystal Palace will be respectful to say if they get what they want, then they're not going to stand in Eze's way. And he's, you know, if his dream is to go back to Arsenal, they're not going to stand in the way of that. Absolutely no chance. And Arsenal and Crystal Palace have got a good relationship. You know, you can go right back to the Ian Wright days when we signed him from Crystal Palace. I've only just recently bought Eddie Nketiah off us as well. But given how he's performed, then they may look at that and think that we've robbed them. But, you know, with all seriousness, no, we've got a good relationship with Crystal Palace at the end of the day. And, yeah, like I said, if Eze's dream is to, you know, rewrite what he felt he never had the opportunity to do when he was a youngster, then that's it. You know, we've all seen the pictures of him when he was a youngster in the academy and wearing the kit and everything else. And yeah, at the end of the day, he's an Arsenal boy. And if he's got his opportunity of going to Arsenal, he's going to take it. And he's certainly not going to be choosing Tottenham over Arsenal. Absolutely no chance is that going to happen. And I'm pretty confident when I say that. Eberechi Eze is never going to choose Spurs over Arsenal. Even if they offered more money. Even if they offered Crystal Palace more money. The decision comes down ultimately to Eze. And he would not choose Spurs over Arsenal. And if Arsenal pulled out of the race for Eze and were not interested, and Spurs just had a free run at him, I would actually say that Eze would stay at Crystal Palace than leave to go to Spurs. It's that simple, and I don't know what more you want me to say. So I think this week it'll be quite interesting. I feel that we may well hear a little bit more, and maybe we may hear that there's been an official bid and we can start to get things moving. And there's only a couple of weeks until, you know, the new season, and we've got a couple of games coming up. First one on Wednesday, and then at the weekend. And then it's down to serious business away to Manchester United in the Premier League. So, listen, I'm really looking forward to it. And we've got so much content coming out over the next few weeks and everything else. But for this one, it's very simple. There's absolutely no chance that Spurs are going to hijack any deal for Eberechi Eze from Arsenal. No chance. Simple as that. So listen, there we go. Let me know in the comment section what you think. And of course, if you're new around here, hit the subscribe button, smash a like on this video, and I will see you a lot soon. I'm out of here.